turn. You tell me a funny story.
Let me get back to you on that.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Stop right there. You can't come in here. Can I get something for you?
I need something funny and interesting about me.
Funny and interesting?
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
Many of us have been in a similar situation to Dan. Awkward moments where we can't quite remember applicable information. But what is actually happening when our minds forget something? What causes that infuriating tip of the tongue feeling? What sort of memory disorders exist? And can forgetting ever be a good thing? In this video, we will discuss reasons why we might forget things, different types of amnesia, how our memories can become flawed, and what you can do to improve your own memory. So join us now as we dive into the wonderful mysteries of the human mind.
So did you get it? Where is it?
No, it's encoding failure.
What does that mean?
I'm glad you asked, Dan. You see, encoding failure is the reason we actually forget most of what we're seeing or processing. You see, the brain is processing an unthinkable amount of information at any given moment. And were we to compartmentalize those memories and store all of them, you'd probably have a splitting headache all the time. The way God designed it, we actually don't store everything we process as memories. However, when something that we want to remember later wasn't encoded, we call that an encoding failure, because our brain never compartmentalized it as a memory, so you can't pull it out of the library if it was never there. Think about it as if a librarian had books and crayon drawings. The crayon drawings are all the information that your brain doesn't think you need to remember, whereas the books are the things you're going to want to remember later. If you can't remember something, it could be because it was discarded.
So he just threw away every interesting memory I had?
No. Imprecise language on my part. It's actually a type of storage decay.
Storage decay?
You know, like the famous forgetting curve and all that?
I don't know.
Brain is, of course, referring to Hermann Ebbinghaus's famous forgetting curve, which basically shows that although you may remember something at 100%, like fully remember everything about it, within 3 years you could forget up to 60% of that information. But after that steep decline of 3 years, you'll usually remember the last 40% pretty well.
So basically, I encoded all the information like I usually do, but the worms keep nibbling away at it. You can have whatever's left after about 3 years. They usually calm down after that.
3 years? I don't have 3 minutes.
Now, this doesn't necessarily have to be a type of storage decay brain. It could also be a form of retrieval failure. Retrieval failure is when you can't quite reach the memory you're wanting because you don't have enough information to access it. So it would be like if it was the memory you wanted was the book on the top shelf, and information would be the stool you need to get up there to reach it.
So you just aren't capable of retrieving that information?
No, you just didn't give me enough information to retrieve it.
I gave you more than what you needed.
You did not.
Where am I?
In Christus Regional Hospital. Can you tell me anything about the events of October 1st, 2025?
It's October.
It was October 1st when we were found unconscious outside of the library about a week ago?
There's a library. Where am I? There's a library here?
No, not to the hospital.
This is a hospital?
Yes, I just said Christus Regional Hospital. Let me ask a different question. What do you last remember?
I was having lunch with my friend Julio down at some cafe. We were eating and he asked, we were just sharing stories and whatnot, and he asked for something funny and interesting about me. trying to figure out what happened after that.
Can you remind me where we are now?
You said it was a hospital?
Yes. Do you remember the name? I mentioned it twice now.
No.
This patient is clearly suffering from a type of amnesia. There are two main types of trauma-induced amnesia: antegrade amnesia and retrograde amnesia. Antegrade amnesia is when a person is no longer able to form new memories, while retrograde amnesia is when a patient can't remember old memories that they made somewhere in the past. Based on what we just learned, this patient clearly is suffering from a form of antegrade amnesia because he can not make any new memories. He doesn't know what the name of the hospital is, even though it was already said twice, but he can remember old memories very well. What about source amnesia? Well, source amnesia is where you remember the center of a memory, but you don't actually remember its context. This is because the source is actually the weakest part of your memory, and this phenomenon, source amnesia, actually is the explanation for why we have this feeling called deja vu. Deja vu is when you have the feeling, I've been here before, or something is similar here. Well, that's because the source is the weak part. You remember the center of the memory, but you can't exactly remember the context. Now, some people who don't have amnesia still struggle to make new memories or recall old memories. So what's going on there?
So there's two types of interference. There's proactive interference and there's retroactive interference. Proactive interference is when you learn a new memory and it makes it harder for you to remember the old memory, such as if you have a combination lock and you get a new combination for it, you're gonna have trouble remembering the new one because you've already memorized the old one.
So what you're used to comes more easily, but
Yes.
the new thing is gonna be harder to remember.
And then there's retroactive, which is when you learn something new and it makes it harder for you to recall the old memory, such as if you learn new words to a song, you're gonna have trouble recalling the original words to it.
Very interesting. Interestingly enough, many memories can actually become flawed, and this is because memories are extremely malleable and vulnerable to suggestion. This results in us remembering things or assuming we've done things that really we've never done. This phenomenon is called false memories. So to review then, there are three main ways that our memories can become flawed. We can have source amnesia, which is where we remember the memory but not the context. We can have the types of interference, proactive and retroactive, and we can easily make false memories because our memories are so malleable and susceptible to suggestion. So based on all this, what are a few ways that we can improve our own memories?
One of the ways you can improve your memory is by spacing out your study times.
Another way to improve your memory is to use mnemonic devices or make up a story about the information you need to recall.
Another way you can improve your memory is by remembering where it was that you studied a certain topic.
You can also study right before bed because there's nothing interfering with what you just learned, and sleeping helps your brain process those memories.
The final and best way to improve your memory is by sleep, because it gives you enough time to organize your memories.
To conclude then, in this video we have discussed the basic reasons why we forget, different types of amnesia, why our memories become flawed, and what you can do to improve your own memory. I hope this has given you a brief taste of the wonderful world of forgetting, which is the art of losing your mind in order to keep it.